That's why I just
Oh, there we go.
said quietly.
I forgot my notes.
Okay, write it down on a piece of paper. All right. So, today we're going to be title it Factoring AX squared plus BX plus C equals 0,
All over to it.
where A equals 1. So this is titled Factoring AX squared plus BX plus C, where A equals 1.
I thought this was gonna be that like little song.
That's coming later. Okay. So today we're going to be playing in the world of factoring, and what we're going to be doing for today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be factoring trinomials. Now the trinomials are in a certain pattern right here. This is called quadratic form. Now the reason why it's called quadratic form is this is the parent function of a quadratic. Okay? A quadratic forms a certain type of graph. Does anyone know what type of graph a quadratic forms? Yeah, it's a U, okay? It's a U or an upside down U, one or the other, okay? It's a parabola. So this is how we're going to be able to factor using quadratic form. Now today we're going to play it as if when A equals 1. Starting Monday we'll go where A doesn't equal 1, but as of today and tomorrow we're going to have it where A equals 1, okay? This is a lot easier than when A doesn't equal 1. This is actually pretty easy. So, I'm going to write down some stuff directly out of the book because I like the way they word it. So this stuff goes down inside your journal. Okay? Alright, so if I have x squared plus bx plus c. So remember, I don't have to write A. Why would I not have to write A today? Because A is 1. Alright, so if there's no A, that's as if A is 1. The way we factor this, so the way we factor this is finding two numbers that multiply to BC and add to BB. So here's a description. It says x squared plus bx plus c equals x plus m times x plus p when m plus p equals b and m times p equals c. You're gonna learn. You're gonna need to know how to do this for 1050. Huh? That's a B. We don't have any H's. B. You'll better remember this quick. But you'll have to do this for 1050.
I've already done
Is it in there? Alright. So the best way, that's just a brief introduction. The best way to be able to teach this is doing problems. So, I want you to write down a few of the problems. I'm going to walk you through a couple steps of one of the problems. We're going to put a few of them inside of our journal, and then we'll see where we get to, okay? Now these things can look very easy or they can look real miserable, just based on the problem, okay? So, the first one we're going to look at, x squared plus 9x plus 20. Step number 1, write C off to the side. And you'll bet it, these steps, as you get better and better at factoring, you'll just kick them out the window. You won't use them. Because you're going to get faster than fast at this. So what is C in this equation? 20, right? Does everyone look up here at this? C is over here. B is always next to X. C is always alone. Does that make sense? B is always next to X. C is always alone. So we're going to write C over here. And the way we're going to draw it is we're going to have a line like that next to it. Step 2. Find two numbers that multiply to BC and add to BB. So this area over here that I wrote 20 and then the line, this area that's over here is called our testing area. This is where we can think of numbers that multiply together to be 20. So I'm just going to show you how to do, so 20 and 1 multiply to be 20, 10 and 2 multiply together to be 20, 5 and 4 multiply together to be 20. Okay? I think that's it, right? So, now look at this. Now we're going to look at these numbers and we're going to find out which one of these multiply together to be 20 and add together to be 9, because 9 is B. So which one of those sets multiplies to be 20 and adds together to be 9? 5 and 4. As soon as I find it, I circle it. Okay? Step 3. Make FOIL parentheses with variable in front. So like this. So variable in first position or front. What that means is this. So here's your FOIL parentheses. So make FOIL. Now look, if this was an A squared up here or a C squared or a Y squared, you'd have Y right here. Make FOIL parentheses with variable in the front. And then you're going to have and put numbers in. So what are our two numbers? 5 and 4. They're both positive, right? So we're going to have a positive 5 and a positive 4. And we're done. Okay, no, so what happens if, hey, so this is all you're going to, so this is your answer right here. Now look, the way you check your answer, how could we check our answer? FOIL it. If we go back and FOIL it, x squared plus 4x plus 5x plus 20, as you guys can see, the two middle terms combined to be 9x. See that? Now we don't want a FOIL, right, Jackson? We just want that to be our answer. Okay, let's do another. X squared plus 11x plus 24. So we take C, we write it over here to the side, and we start testing numbers. Now most of you, who in here already knows the numbers? Raise your hand if you already know the two numbers that multiply together to be C and add together to be B. Raise your hand as soon as you figure out what two numbers multiply together to be C and add together to be B. Okay, so let's look at them. If you don't know, because I know some of you guys are like, I was looking around and some of you guys are like, I'm going to raise my hand just because everyone else is raising. Okay? That's what, okay, Daxton, tell me some numbers that multiply together to be 24.
24 and 1.
Okay, is there any chance that gets to 11? Nope, tell me another one. 12 and 2, does that get to 11?
Yes. 3 and 4.
3 and 4 do not multiply together to be 24.
5 and 6, I don't even know.
6 and 4, does that multiply? I mean, do those add together to get 11?
3, that's what it is.
Okay, so he went through them all. He said 8 and 3. Do those add together to be 11? Okay, so you come over here, you make your 4 parentheses, and you plug in your numbers right there. You wait. Remember. Okay, great question. Doesn't matter which order you put them in. It doesn't. You can put the 3 first, the 8 second, because when you go back and FOIL them, Ava, you get the exact same thing. Okay. All right, let's start getting a little bit tougher.
Do you put a number in front of it?
Tomorrow, Monday, we will.
That's the
Okay. So let's start playing with negatives. Everything's okay. Trust me, it's not any harder. Just believe me. All right, x squared minus 8x plus 12. We grab c. We put it over here to the side. We need two numbers that multiply together to be positive 12 and add together to be negative 8.
That's not how it works.
So watch, check in. Hey, now I'm going to show you how I do it. Watch.
Negative number.
You already know it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so look, what are the numbers that multiply together to be 12? Okay, 3 and 4, 12 and 1. What's another one?
2 and 6.
Okay, is there any way that 12 and 1 can get to 8? If any way, shape, or form, one of them is a negative? No. Right? Is there any way that 3 and 4 can get to 8?
No.
No. Is there a way that 6 and 2 can get to 8? Okay, so now we have to think, okay, how do I make 6 and 2 get to negative 8? If they're both negative, they multiply together to be positive 12, and they add together to be negative 8. So now inside of your 4 parentheses, you're going to have a negative 6 and a negative 2, and that's your answer. Okay, you guys ready to try it on your own? Here we go. I'm changing the variable. It doesn't change the type of problem. W squared minus 11W plus 28. Try it on your own. I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I promise you, if you check in today and tomorrow on these, by the end of this year, you'll be able to look at these and do them in your head. And trust me, it is satisfying when you get the right numbers. You're like,
It only took me 3 tries to get it.
We just simultaneously finished at the same time.
Why do you have to say it at
Daxton,
the same time?
Daxton.
Said simultaneously. Like,
Daxton,
why?
head down 30 seconds.
Why?
Just kidding, don't go head down. You'll miss the big part. All right, here we go. 28. I've already heard a lot of you guys say it. What are the two numbers? Negative 7, negative 4. Those two numbers, when put together, become negative 11. When they're multiplied together, they give you positive 28. So we're going to have W minus 7 and W minus 4. Now look, hey, sometimes we can't get there that quick, right? I heard a lot of you guys get there real fast and real easy. But some of us went 14 and 2, 28 and 1. Okay? Hey, that's fine. That's what this area is for, is the testing area. Okay, let's do another. X squared plus 2x minus 15. If that's the case, what's our C, Cole?
Negative 15.
Good. So it's negative 15. Now we have to go through the process again. So, sorry. Yep. So our C is negative 15. Daxton, help me. What are two numbers that multiply together to be 15?
15 and 1.
Okay, can that get to 2?
5 and 3.
Okay, those are it, right? So 5 and 3 can get to 2, but how can they get to 2? Because
Negative.
okay, but which one?
3.
Tavoots, why is it 3?
Because
Five
it's
minus
too
three
long.
is two.
Okay, because in order to get, look, one of them has to be negative. Look at this. One of these numbers has to be negative if C is negative right here, okay?
Yes.
One of them has to be negative if C, not always, we're going to do them without. Hey, one of these numbers has to be negative if C is negative. Because you have to be able to multiply them together to get a negative. So, here we go. We got our two numbers. We got 5 and 3. Now look, if you didn't get it that quick, right? So let's say you didn't get it that quick and you're like, okay, I know it has to be 5 and 3 because 15 and 1 can never get to 2. And you put the negative there first. Well, negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. It's not that, so it has to be that. Right? It's a testing area. Use the testing area if you need it. So, we know our two numbers. We're going to have x plus 5 and x minus 3 is our solution. Sophia?
What do you do if C is like 7?
I'll do a bunch. We're going to do a bunch today. I'm going to teach for a while. I'm going to try to hit every single example you can possibly see today. All right, let's do another one. So you're saying like if C is 7?
Yeah.
All right, well, I got one more and then I'll do one like what you're saying. So x squared minus 2x minus 24. So our C is going to be negative 24. And as I start testing, I can go 12 and 2. That's never going to get to 2. I can go 6 and 4. Does that get to 2? Okay, so here's the key though.
6 is.
The 6 has to be negative here. Because negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. So I know my solution is that. Now look, I got that pretty quick, right? I could have went 8 and 3. That's never going to get there. I could have went 24 and 1. That's never going to get there, right? 6 and 4 is my answer, and then you just have to figure out which one the negative goes on to get the right answer. There's always one that Alex asks, and I'm pounding my head. Alex always asks one that gets everyone, and it even got me when I first looked at it, and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'll remember it while I'm teaching, hopefully. Okay, these numbers can get kind of big too. For example, you might see something like, I'm going to do one more, Sophia, and then I'm going to do yours. Y squared plus 13y minus 48. So we have negative 48 over here. So let's start, Logan. Give me two numbers. 48 and 1. Nice. Can that get to 13? Okay, Max, give me another one. Nice. Got that one quick. Look. Hey, so a lot of times people see big numbers like this and they go 8 and 6. They go 24 and 2. They go 12 and 4. It's this one that's going to get it to us by putting the negative right here. But sometimes it's a hard time to see that, right? But that's why it's called a testing area. Think about every possible way you can get to 48, and then you just test it. So it's going to be y plus 16, y minus 3. No. Okay. Here, I'm going to find one like Sophia is asking here. Give me just 2 seconds. I know, it's going to be a little bit longer. Because we still have a part of the lesson we have to get to. All right. Sophia, I'll come up with my own. All right. So if we have something like this, x squared, so you want 7 over here. So plus 7 minus 8x. I'm going to talk about it. So if we have this right here, here's our C. What are the only two numbers that multiply? 7 and 1. Can that get to negative 8?
No.
How, Max?
Yeah.
What about if they're both negative? Does that get to negative 8? Do they multiply together to be 7? So over here we're going to have x minus 7, x minus 1. Now listen, I always tell students this every year, and I hesitate doing it every year because I've yet to find a problem on Alex. that this is the answer for this section. You may see something where it's like x squared minus 2x plus 5.
Write this down.
No. Okay, you might see a problem like this. And then you're going to grab C and you're going to put it out here and you're going to think, well, 5 and 1. And this is an easy one. You'll get ones that are great big numbers and you'll think, this is definitely what Mr. Glazer said. And you'll click the button and it's wrong. There's an answer. If something can't be factored, we write prime. Now, I will tell you this. I've yet to find a problem on 1/6 and Alex. We will come across problems that will be prime. But 1/6 has yet to have a problem that's prime that I found. Now, Alex updates every year. Maybe this is the year, but I doubt it. Okay? If it can't be factored, it's a prime, and that's it. If you want, but I wouldn't. I'd hesitate because we're going to actually get to problems that we're going to have prime. If you want to, I'm okay with it. Okay, the last thing we have to talk about, and this is where it gets kind of interesting, is we're going to have to solve these. It's only about one step further, but in order to do it, we have to follow, we're going to have some new steps. So here we go. Here's our new problem. X squared plus 6x equals 27. Okay. Yep. Okay, so first thing is, we have to get it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, Andy, what do we have to get the polynomial set equal to in order to solve it? You have to set a polynomial equal to 0 in order to solve it. Get used to saying this. Anytime you see a polynomial and there's an equal sign, you have to get it set equal to 0 in order to solve it. And I'm going to show you why as we go through this problem, but you have to do that. So, step number 1. Get it set equal to 0. Max. Yeah, but we're going to have to subtract it, right? So we're going to subtract 27 to the other side. I will. Well, yeah, because you can't, in order to move it from one side of the equation to the other, you have to do the opposite. So if this was a negative over here, you'd make it a positive over here. So the first thing is you have to get it set equal to 0. Step number 2, factor trinomial. So this I'm not going to teach you how to, I'm not going to have the steps to factor, and again, you already have the steps to factor them. Okay, we get negative 27 out here. We ignore the equal 0 for a second. We get negative 27, we get 9 and negative 3. And we're going to have x plus 9, x minus 3 equals 0. After you factor. Okay, I'm not going to factor this one all the way. I'm not going to. That's basically all you do, actually. Fine. Say that louder. Take it on your mask. I can't hear you. Y equals 0? How? No, you have to get it set equal to 0. Always. I can't hear you in your mask.
Why haven't we been putting 0 on the end of the rest of them?
Because the other ones you're just factoring. This one says factor and solve. Daxton, could you understand him? Daxton, could you understand him?
I wasn't listening.
No. Could you understand him? Why didn't you say anything?
I was about to, but then they yelled it out.
We all were like,
I got my computer that makes a little bit of noise right here.
Yeah, blame on
Smartboard makes a little bit. I'm like in a weird zone. Okay, here we go. So the reason being is because those were just factoring. This one is factoring to solve. Does that make sense, Jackson?
what is there?
Before? No, it's not there. You're going to have problems that it's not there and you just get it down to the four parentheses. Now, we're going to solve. Step number 3. Set each part equal to 0. You should have 2 answers. So what that's going to look like is you're going to grab the first parenthesis, set it equal to 0. You're going to grab the second parenthesis, set it equal to 0. And then you're going to solve them both. I like setting them because sometimes you get caught up and you change signs when you shouldn't. I like getting to this point and then just doing it. So when we solve equations, technically we're only going one step further, right? Because up to right here, this is all the same, basically. The only difference is from here is we're going to set each one of these parentheses equal to 0. And we're going to solve them both. Now let me ask you a question. Other than Andy, maybe Steve, why is there 2 answers? Why is there 2 answers? Either one does work. But why is there 2 answers?
Give us a hint.
They both combine.
Because
Because if you multiply one by
Raise your hand if you have an answer.
equals 27.
Not Steve.
He answered it. No.
Does anyone know why we have 2 answers?
I'm sorry, I don't have to love the baby.
Hey, whoever gets it, I'll give them the Sharpie.
Really?
That's it.
Sam?
Because you put them together. you
No.
go back to negative.
No, of course that's right.
Work.
That's what he said. Of course they both work their answers.
He said.
Tyson? No.
You have to get rid of, let's get rid of 0. I don't know.
Why do before I even start this problem,
Because one is squared and one isn't.
Because your answer has to be 0.
X's with different variables.
But it was negative.
Jackson?
What are we talking about again?
Because of the eggs. Okay, wait, don't answer yet. Just give us
But one is squared and one isn't. That's why.
What is squared?
It's an X.
Jordan?
Because
No.
the x is squared.
That's why.
That's what I said.
You said the x is squared and 1 isn't.
I said one X is squared and one isn't.
I think- hey.
I want that chart. That's what I said. I said that.
Hey,
I said.
listen. The squared, the exponent will tell you.
No. That's literally what I said. I said that X is squared and the other one isn't.
Yeah, that didn't make any
What's
sense.
wrong with that? Like one of them has to.
Because, hey, Daxton, because this is also a problem that we're going to learn how to solve. That doesn't have and one of them isn't. Hey, the reason why x squared it tells us 2 answers is because of the exponent. Now look, shh, quiet, check back in. Hey, I know it's going to have 2 answers because it's squared. So if there's a problem that's cubed, it's going to have 3 answers. If there's a problem that's to the 4th, it's going to have 4 answers. Okay? So like in Math 1050 here, he's going to get the problems where he's going to be solving problems to the 5th and to the 6th, which tells me that there's going to be 6 answers. In Math 3, next year, you're going to learn how to synthetically divide problems. And it's going to have like x cubed. It's going to have 3 answers. Okay? The exponent will tell you how many answers you should get. So if you're doing these problems and you only get 1 answer, and we will have problems. I'm going to do one right now for you where you're going to get a problem that's the exact same answer, but you still have 2. So for example, if I have x squared, Andy, plus 12x plus 36 equals 0. So I'm going to quickly go through this one because hopefully by now we're starting to kind of understand factoring. After we factor, we get that. Two numbers that multiply together to be 36 and add together to be 12. 6 and 6. So we're there. At this point, we set them both equal to 0. And we get x equals 6 and x equals 6. Technically, that's only one answer. But it is two, right? Because we actually did get two answers. There's one, there's two.
Wait, could we just write one?
You don't need to write one. Yes. Yeah.
It's like
Did you write
one,
X
like
to
men's
the n
shampoo.
would also be X squared instead of-
Nope. Because that's not, x squared equals 6 is this. Negative 6 and 6. That's wrong. I know. And I think I'm done. Okay.
Peace
Listen.
out. Say peace out and then end it.
Peace.
Bump it, pound it,
All right. Hey.
I would go up to my
Found it, dog. See ya.
Where's my mouse? Okay.